Nation's heroes were honored for their service in a special ceremony at Fort Novosel this morning. The home of Army Aviation invited elected officials and veterans from the Wiregrass area to celebrate Veterans Day, which is this Saturday. The commanding general of the military installation says it's an honor to recognize this day, which is special ties to the state of Alabama.
That one of the primary people responsible for it was a World War II veteran from Alabama. Raymond Weeks of Birmingham. He wanted to expand the meaning of the day that was started by President Woodrow Wilson after the war to end all wars. And he petitioned the military and Congress to broaden the scope of the federal holiday beyond World War I to include all veterans.
Following those efforts, in 1954, Congress passed a bill signed by President Eisenhower claiming November 11th as Veterans Day, and McCurry went on to thank all veterans for their service. He also recognized those that have continued to serve their communities after leaving the armed forces.